We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
It's all about the cash flow. So come on and get this money, man. Getting paper and we always do it major on the slow, you know it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Game Winning Drive. I am your host, Drew. This is my boy, Brant. We are missing our two other co-hosts tonight, unfortunately. Alex is, I don't know what he's doing. And Ryan has a little emergency going on tonight. So it's just us two holding it down tonight. We got a big show, though. As always, we got the Albert Entertainment for you. We are presented by the Sports Box Network. You know what? Hey, man, we got a big show tonight. We talked about it. We are talking with the Dallas Cowboys fans tonight. Tony Quigley himself from Baseline Jump and Brian Attard, who is our leader of our network, and he is also a diehard Cowboys fan. We're going to talk about their 2021 season outlook, what they expect. What does Dan Quinn bring into the Dallas Cowboys defense? Their draft process, how do both of them take it? We're excited to dive in and talk about the Cowboys. We're also excited to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. I think we have 15 people showing up tonight. I don't know, but it's a lot of Eagles fans in the Sports Box Network. And I figured I have a lot of Eagle friends. It's ridiculous. It's going to be even more crazy when I get there November 5th, I believe, when the Chargers play the Eagles. I'm excited. I'm probably going to be the only one wearing the blue and gold. That's okay, though. That's okay. And as always, as you guys don't know, I am a diehard Charger fan. Brant Meeks is the diehard Washington, we don't know their name yet, fan. And, we're going to get in and talk about it tonight. Get about 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to dive into the Cowboys. But right now, we got our hot topics. But before I get into the hot topics, ladies and gentlemen, Brant, how was your weekend, brother?
Dude, it was great. Spent a lot of good time with the family. Got to, cook out, finish building our barbecue pit in the backyard. So we're all set to go for some bonfires and cookouts for the summer.
Nice.
How was yours?
Nice. Man, my weekend was good, dude. I just literally did absolutely nothing on Sunday. We got to watch. I'm actually on Snowfall season 3, so I'm excited to finish that up. It's been a great show. Saturday, we just chilled with the family, had a party to go to, and it was chill, man. But, hey, bro, we're not here to talk about our lives. We're here to talk about football. Let's get into it, dude, real quick. The Atlanta Falcons are currently taking calls for all-pro wide receiver Julio Jones. What team is the best fit for Julio, and is this the right move, Brant?
I'm going to start off by saying I don't think Julio Jones should go anywhere. Matty Ice was heard saying, I don't know what our offense is without Julio Jones. They're obviously not trying to give up on this year, so I don't know why they would try to trade him necessarily. I definitely think it makes sense for them to try to keep him, especially if they're trying to push for the win now, which it seems like what they're doing when they got Kyle Pitts. But if I'm going to look at teams that work, I don't think they'd want to trade him anywhere in the NFC where they'd have to face him. I think they'd want him to the AFC. I think you could look at teams like the Colts maybe, because they got an aging T.Y. Hilton, who has definitely been down the last few years, and Michael Pittman are leading that offense. I think you could definitely see the Ravens because, everyone's been talking about the Ravens needing wide receiver help. And they did something with Rashad Bateman, a little bit with Tylan Wallace in the draft, but I don't know if that's going to necessarily pan out. And then my last one would be the Jets. I think the Jets, they're the Jets, right? Like, they need all the help they can get. I think there's 3 teams that have the cap room to make it happen. I think they work.
I've heard a lot about the Raiders. I don't know if that would transpire where that could work, but I think the best fit for him is to stay with Atlanta, finish it up with Matt Ryan. A lot of lower body injuries. I don't think a lot of teams would jump for a big price for him if Atlanta's waiting for that big market, a big trade value. I just don't see it happening. Patriots is another team that's been floating around that I've been reading. I just don't see Bill Belichick making that move unless it's for a Randy Moss heist, which obviously we will not see ever again, probably in the history of the NFL. So I don't know what the right fit is, but I don't know what the right team would trade for him. Colts, Raiders, and the Jets. The Jets seems like a good possibility that could happen. NFC, I don't see them trading inside their own conference, especially in NFC South. I don't see that happening at all. Guys, last question for first down. There, we're going to get into that roundtable talk with our boys. Who is Game Winning Drive's biggest dark horse to win MVP in 2021? These guys are not favorite. Brant, who you got, man?
So I wanted to look at the different ones, right? So like from like 1 to 5, you have Mahomes, Rodgers, Allen, Stafford, Brady. After them, you got Lamar Jackson, Dak, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert. So top 10, obviously all quarterbacks. So I think the biggest dark horse would be a running back. And I think the best running back poised to do this would be Derrick Henry. They love running the ball in Tennessee. I think if somehow he could manage to get 2,000 yards, I think you could definitely see him getting that MVP hype.
Can you say the top 10 again real quick?
Top 10 is Mahomes, Rodgers, Allen, Stafford. Stafford's 4th. Like that's pretty. They're expecting some things from LA. Then you got Brady, Jackson, Dak, Kyler Murray, Russell, Herbert, and Tannehill.
Okay. All right. Yeah, man, I'm with you too. If I had to pick a dark horse, it would have to be running back. And if I look around the league and I see what running back can bring the most, it'd probably be Saquon Barkley for me, probably. Just because I don't believe in the total offense being a heavy passing offense for Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. He's a lot better with the play action when Barkley was there, which is why I have him as one of my sleepers for fantasy. But that's fantasy. We're talking real world. Barkley, that's tough, dude. It's tough. I have to wait to see what training camp's like. But it was a funny question to come up on NFL.com, and I was looking at it to see what dark horse would be there. I saw a receiver. I saw someone put Chris Godwin. I don't see that happening.
No, he's not even the best wide receiver on that team.
I know. It's Mike Evans. So I mean, it's a lot of hearsay. But if maybe Kirk Cousins, if he's the dark horse, if he's on the top 10.
If Deshaun Watson gets out of his legal troubles, he's down near 15 to 20. Like he's sitting at what plus 5,000 right now.
Yeah, so,
he's got the same odds as Kirk Cousins does. If he can somehow get out of all these legal issues and he ends up playing, especially if he ends up getting traded to a better team, like I could definitely see him doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just hard because it's always about the quarterbacks in the NFL. It's never about running backs, wide receivers. No matter, I think there's a good chance even if a running back got 2,000 yards running, there'd still be a quarterback just because it's the flashy position.
Sam Darnold.
He is. Hold on, still scrolling.
I already have my pick, but I'm not going to reveal it till August when we do our reward show. So.
Holy, I don't even see him on the list.
All right. All good. Don't care. Here we go. I just wanted to get into right here, boys. This is the freaking Dallas Cowboys roundtable talk. I'm going to invite my guys in right now. We have Brian Attard. Brian Attard, how you doing, my man?
Living the dream, brother. How are you?
Good, brother. Thanks for coming on tonight. And then I got my boy Quig here in the bottom right corner. Hey, Quig, how you doing, man?
What's up, gentlemen? Living the nightmare. Brian's living a dream. I'm living a nightmare.
Never had a bad day in your life.
This is a dream for Mr. Attard tonight because he doesn't have to carry the dead weight, and he can actually have an intelligent conversation. Something he normally doesn't do, when he's highly opinionated.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, let's get into it. I've been waiting all day to talk about the Cowboys.
I bet.
Oh, yeah. Quig, let's start off with you, man. I know you love the ins and outs we talked about on draft week with Dan Quinn making his picks and selections. I know there was some disagreement with Brian getting Micah Parsons as the first round pick. talk us overall, man. What do you expect this defense to be in 2021 for the NFC East?
One word, and it's very simple: improved. And it's not it's not a shock. I mean, with Dan Quinn's pedigree, with what he was doing in the with defenses in the past, and he's able to just concentrate on coaching defenses, and then how they hit the draft. Most players drafted on defense by the Cowboys, in their history. It was a huge need, and it seems like something that they're trying to really quick address. So it looks like they have a game plan. Let's see if they execute it properly.
Love it. Brett?
When I was looking at the draft that y'all made, right, y'all traded back, that sort of lent itself to the Giants ended up being, dropping back to 20 and picking up an extra first last year. Do you think, in retrospect, knowing that they were able to get that first pick, that the trade down for Dallas will come back to bite them a little bit?
Not at all. I mean, they added they added draft capital of their own, taking a player at 12, and then they were going to take at 10 regardless. So I mean, you can't see the future as far as if you trade back with the Giants, they're going to trade back for this. You can't do that. You have to do what's best for your football team. And getting an extra draft pick and taking a player that you were getting at 12 than you were going to do at 10 anyway. I mean, that's what you need to do.
Definitely. Brian, for me, I know you're the guy that goes to with the salary cap issues and this and that. Amari Cooper is coming off that. I think he has that team option after this year. Do we see the Dallas Cowboys moving on from Amari Cooper since they have CeeDee Lamb in the rookie contract deal that they still have?
I don't know. I think it depends what happens with Michael Gallup. I think that one of them's probably not here. I mean, you're not going to find yourself down to one receiver from the three that you have. So, again, we can talk about Dak's contract till we're all blue in the face, but the benefit to it is for the first couple of years structured where it does give them flexibility with the hope that by the second half of that deal, the cap has gone up due to the new TV deal. So, Michael Gallup may not be here after this season. I think is the key factor. I mean, if they can get him under contract, I don't know that Cooper's there long-term. I don't think the three of them are there long-term. So I think Lamb's obviously there long-term, but I think the other two, one's going to impact the other. It's a good proposition to me that both of them are not on the roster. I think only one will be coming into the 22 season.
And that's where you see, Bri, a lot of fans are short-sighted, especially the Cowboys fan, when they were talking about Jerry Jones' infatuation with Kyle Pitts. Now, anybody who's in the NFL in player development or prospect or owners is going to be infatuated with Kyle Pitts. So when they were screaming their heads off about, they need defense. Well, first of all, one player on defense isn't going to change that defense. Second of all, when you look at Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper coming up, trying to make some big money, if you have Kyle Pitts and CeeDee Lamb, you're ahead of the game right there. If that did happen. So, they do have some issues. And I mentioned on the show last night when we were talking about the draft, Bri, is Semi Fehoko, big speed receiver, downfield threat. He's going to be looking to take place of some of Michael Gallup's snaps, and he's able to do it. It'll be interesting.
There's nothing guaranteed on Amari's deal after this year. So, they can get rid of him. I mean, the dead cap is 6, 4, and 2. I mean, you actually open up $16, $18, and $20 million the next couple of years. But it depends what Gallup wants. I mean, if Gallup wants 12, I mean, the numbers are there, right? I mean, in a consistently increasing wide receiver market, it depends. But I don't think you can keep them both. I think that I think they're going to be in the situation where if they don't get Gallup signed, they just keep Amari and move on. If they do, then they can cut Amari, trade Amari, whatever you want to do, but you give yourself the flexibility to do so. So it's in a weird backward way that they've kind of given themselves that flexibility in taking Lamb where they did. So I give them credit for it. And
you're out to see what they want to do in their offense as well, because when you look at Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper, they're completely different receivers, to be honest with you.
Definitely are. They definitely are. Brant?
So looking at the draft, going back to the draft picks, I liked Micah Parsons a lot. He was my best linebacker coming out. I'm definitely disappointed that y'all ended up getting him. In the second round, y'all got Kelvin Joseph. I really like Jabril Cox too coming in the fourth. But when I look at the third round picks of Osa, Chauncey Golston, and Nashawn Wright, like they boggled my mind. Like I didn't understand the value. I think Matt Miller even came out and said, I've never had a team pick 3 guys that were ranked so low, bunched up like that. What was the why? Why would they take 3 guys that were seemingly ranked so low back to back to back?
Well, it's shit. Chauncey Golston's ranked so low he didn't make the list here that you guys put together.
Exactly.
Well, listen, yeah, I see now they even Kelvin Joseph was drafted a little bit high in some people over, that raised some eyebrows to, some of the cornerbacks that were left out there. At first, when it was playing out in real time, Osa, Nashawn, and Chauncey Golston, everybody was kind of scratching their heads a little bit. I think that they were, I think, averaged over or picked maybe 100 picks higher than what some expected, at least a round 2. So that kind of had me scratching my head. Osa is an undersized defensive tackle on a team that needs run stuffing and run support. But then when you actually kind of put down together what they're trying to do, or what they are doing, is when they get Osa gets out to the quarterback. He's a dog, quick, good technique, just not big. And you have Chauncey Golston, who is completely opposite. He's huge for a defensive end. He's the run stuffer. Then as you go through later on in the draft and you get to Quentin Bohannon, it seems like what Dan Quinn's going to be doing is to be putting specific package together. When you run downs, you got Bohannon and you got Golston, plus you got the other guys on their time over, on their defensive line, but you're specifically talking about the rookies here. You're going to be able to package them to really help a run defense that was dreadful. I mean, miserable. Cleveland Browns fan. I mean, I think their water boy just ran for 50 yards. So that you kind of see it. The Nashawn Wright pick. I mean, he's 6'4", huge wingspan. You also missed the safety Mukamura, who's going to be moving to free safety on there. Who's also 6'4". Nashawn Wright, he might be out of the league. There we go. He might be out of the league in 2 years. If
I could have fit it all in one box. Sorry. Too many draft picks.
So some long names there. But he might be. He's a guy here that he's a 3rd round draft pick. He might be out of the league within 2 years if he doesn't fit in Dan Quinn's scheme, because this is pretty much the only scheme that it's a foreseeable future where he is a fit. But he also might thrive on it. I mean, listen, Richard Sherman, who he turned into a Hall of Famer, wasn't a high draft pick, wasn't high. Tell me something that Richard Sherman does good besides have good length and smarts, athleticism, all that kind of stuff. It's not really there. So I mean, I'm happy with the draft as it unfolded as a whole, but those 3 picks, as it was going on, as it was folding, it's like, wow, they overdrafted him. Wow, they overdrafted him. But you kind of see what he's trying to do.
I ended up giving them a good draft. And I found the specific tweet from Matt Miller. I think I ended up giving y'all like a B minus. And those 3 picks, I mean, according to Matt Miller, who does, he's at NFL Draft Scout, his pick 75 was Osa. He ranked him number 228. Pick 84 was Golston. He ranked him 242. And then pick 99 was Nashawn Wright, and he had him ranked 315. So at least they went in order, right? Of progressively getting worse, but it was definitely one of those things I was shocked. What were you saying, Brian?
Curious where he had Jamarcus Russell. Anyway,
Matt Miller wasn't doing draft scouting when Jamarcus Russell was
just saying, whatever. It's just one man's opinion, but I understand it. But I think that for everybody who said that they reached in round 3, the value they got in Jabril Cox in round 4 was fantastic. And if you kind of put him in the 3rd round, push these guys back, you feel differently about it. I know that's in retrospect, because who's going to be there. But again, if they're looking for specific fits and they don't think they're going to get them later, I understand it. I also had, Tony, you and I did the draft together, and we were like, I don't really like that. I don't really like that. Because again, these guys that you don't perceive the value is there, end up going to your team earlier than you think that they should. So you're like,
well, I mean, Drew, I heard you mention fantasy a little bit, and we're all playing, we're all in leagues together and stuff like that. But when you talk into an old school fantasy philosophy that I wrote articles about 20 years ago, value-based drafting, it's very similar. I mean, if you thought James Robinson was going to be a phenomenal player this year, and you were James Robinson fan, you want to take him in the first round, and he has great production, great. But you lost all that value because you overdrafted him, or you added other positions.
Yep.
If they think that Chauncey Golston is going to be the next great defensive tackle, amazing. But like I said, Matt Miller had him ranked 242. So there was a whole host of other defensive ends, defensive players that you could have added value to your team. Where other, draft board. Mike Mayock is classic at this with the Raiders, as you've seen. They've been overdrafting players, and stuff. And some of them turned out to be solid NFL players, but
Cleveland Farrell
rounds,
Yeah. Speaking of fantasy, guys, I wanted to talk about real quick. We got a couple of minutes with you. With Blake Jarwin, he's coming back at tight end. Fantasy perspective only. Is he one of your guys' sleepers for in the tight end position for 2021?
Or is it Dalton Schultz?
Not Dalton Schultz.
Listen, going into last year, Blake Jarwin was a breakout candidate. He finished the year before phenomenal. Great run after catch. Gave the Cowboys a run after catch threat at tight end position it hasn't had in 10 years. And there's no shade to Jason Witten, but at the same time, he was a shell himself for a long, long time. He just got open, and it was good to see that. And I think I got Jarwin late in a lot of leagues, and I was happy to grab him. And I do think there's a lot of potential for him recovering this year.
I think he's just going to be there. I mean, again, the talent's there. I like the player, but I also think, given his size and everything, he's going to be open a lot because, you're going to have to scheme for those outside receivers and the slot, obviously. And you do have to account for the running game. So really he may be the beneficiary of just being open a lot. And Dak's going to find him. I'm assuming Dak's going to play. So, from the standpoint of you're getting a piece of what should be a really, really high powered offense, I think, compared to some other tight ends that are going to be taken around where he's going to go, why not? I think that definitely some upside there and probably has at least a decent floor, given the fact that while the defense will be better, let's be honest, they're still going to be throwing a lot. So, you're going to get some target share out of that.
Definitely agree. Brent, you got a final question?
Looking at the offensive weapons that are the Dallas Cowboys, right? Like you got Gallup, you have Lamb, you've got Amari Cooper, who I just picked up yesterday. That's nice little deal. And then you got Zeke and you got Dak. Like who do you think is going to be the best wide receiver? And do you think Zeke's going to go back to like the old him, or do you think he's going to be the 2020 Zeke?
How's the line?
That's pretty much the answer. Is the line healthy? If the offensive line is healthy, you're going to get a productive Zeke. You're going to get a productive Tony Pollard. That's immediate handcuffed right there. If you're going to ask me to pick a receiver out of there, I'll probably take CeeDee Lamb. I think he probably turns into the best receiver out of the bunch there as far as long-term fantasy-wise. They have most invested. Gallup is sporadic. Amari Cooper, you never really know what you're going to get from a fantasy perspective as well. The receiver position there, I think you'll probably be able to grab CeeDee Lamb a little bit later than Cooper still.
All right, boys, I want to hear it straight out. Oh, I'm sorry, Brian. You want to talk?
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, but like we said, how's the line? That's what really just drives me nuts about Zeke and his contract is like, why am I paying you what I'm paying you if you are contingent upon this wonderful line that we've built in front of you? I mean, I can go get another running back to do what you do if all you're going to do is be a product of the line in front of you. And that's why I hated the draft pick. I hated the contract. I hate everything around it. I like the player. I own his jersey, but from a pure value perspective, this is why these long-term deals with big money to running backs don't work, because that is the most contingent position. It is so dependent on the offensive line. I mean, rarely do you have one of those running backs that it doesn't matter who's in front of them. They're going to find space. They're going to get there. So that's why I hate drafting it high and I hate paying the position. And I think that what you saw last year is a clear example of why.
And Tony Pollard looked a lot better than
Yeah.
Zeke behind the same offensive line.
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, there's
Agreed.
tons of ability out there.
A lot
So-
less fumble problems too.
And Zeke looked slow. He looked sluggish. He didn't look at all like he was in the same shape he was prior. Speaking being Atard being the contract guy, when is the out in that contract for the Cowboys?
It's not soon enough.
It de-escalates after next year. It starts de-escalating pretty. But yeah, me and Brian did a Eagles versus Cowboys show. Prior to that draft, we actually embarrassed the Eagles fans. Anthony Morello.
They start to get some positive cap in 2023. He's not going to cut this year. It's a 23 million dead. It'd be 6.7 additional dead for 2022, but they do get some positive money. The guarantees go away after the 2022 season. So, I don't want to say he's on borrowed time, but listen, that's going to be his age 28 year too. I mean, let's call it what it is. Running backs hit that wall, and maybe they front loaded it with the idea that they're going to get out of it, and maybe that might be their way out of it. Because again, the dead money would only be 6.7 and 2.6 in 23 and 24. I mean, it's not astronomical. And to me, I would think that's probably the most likely scenario.
Zeke was
dead
suffering
money,
from COVID symptoms towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
He started to show glimpses of his old self.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not going to buy that.
Blame it on the way the wind was blowing and stuff like that. But I'll tell you, COVID wasn't the one blocking for him, and and Zeke looked a little bit slower because he wasn't exploding into the holes because the holes weren't there.
Yeah.
Guys,
money.
Yep. Guys, for me, I just wanted to ask you guys, just plain and simple, is the Cowboys, what's their record going to be when the season's done? And how far do you guys see your team heading into the NFC playoffs?
Well, it won't be 8-8. Jason Garrett's
at least 8-1, right?
Yeah, that would be something interesting. Listen, if you look at the way the schedule breaks down, and just a side note here, we were talking about a little bit of dead money. I love the fact that we have some dead money waiting in the lobby here for us when these bum ass Eagle fans come in. This is a great graphic of a Xbox ad, by the way.
I would like it. In case you want to apply, we're not. Did they sponsor us? No, I didn't know.
There you go. Yeah, so when you're looking at the Cowboys schedule, I think them and the Eagles have the strength of schedule is the bottom of the list, which I think it is quickly becoming overrated with how injuries and stuff changes. I mean, they're at Kansas City. Well, what if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play? That strength of schedule completely changes. You see Michigan man Chad Henning tear him up, but that's what I'm saying. Like if it varies, if you're playing a team that isn't, they don't have a star player, they have offensive line. It's a lot more when you play a good team, strength, or when you don't. But the Washington, the Giants, and the Washington, and I mean that's 3 easy wins at the end of the year at least.
Agree. So how far do you guys see yourself go? I didn't catch that. Do you 8-8? You said
no. It's hard. Go ahead, bud. You picked them to the Super Bowl last year, so
if you look at that schedule, you want to say what are your surefire losses? To be fair, I think it's obviously week 1 and week 11. I mean, just put them as L's right now. I'm not even going to, I'm going to play. I'm going to worry about it. But other than that, there isn't really anything that kind of stands out and says, "Wow, they really can't win that game." So. I mean, conservatively, I see a 10-11 win team here as long as everybody stays healthy. Because I just think that the defense is better simply by the subtraction of a bum defensive coordinator. And could they have been better last year if not for him? The offense was very good at the start of the season, but let's be fair. It had to be, and it was due to a lot of opportunity because the defense couldn't stay on the field for more than 3 minutes because they kept putting up points. So,
This is like that schedule is easy though.
Yeah, find me
like
seriously.
If I'm looking at the Washington schedule, right? I'm talking about Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Kansas City. What was the other one? Oh,
listen, hey,
all
you guys
in the
were
first
7-9 and won a
games.
division. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, you flip-flop Buffalo. Well, listen, it's you guys made the playoffs last year in Washington, and that's kind of how they do. So instead of Buffalo, we play New England.
Which 3 years ago you wouldn't be complaining about.
No, goodness gracious.
So for me, man, yeah, I really think that Dallas Cowboys would definitely win the NFC East. There's no if, and, or buts about it to me personally. All obviously declining to see what the healthness of the Dallas's offensive line and Dak Prescott coming back from a pretty bad injury. But I think Dak is going to show the world what he could do this year. And like Tony said before, we talked about it before with Dan Quinn, huge upgraded defensive coordinator. I think the defense is going to be a lot better, and it's going to pay dividends for what they did in this draft and who they signed and who they didn't sign. Guys,
he might be, but he might be a guy who's just a really good coordinator and just a terrible head coach.
Wade Phillips 2.0.
Wade Phillips, North Turner.
Yeah, exactly. And these are the type of things you kind of realize. And hopefully he has a good relationship with Mike McCarthy. I wasn't in love with his performance either with some of his decisions, but hopefully with his seemingly easy schedule and a light back end, they should get it done. But if Dak gets hurt again, who knows?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Boys, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight. Thank you so much for joining Game Winning Drive, and thank you guys for talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Can't wait to catch up with you guys again on our show when the 2021 season comes around. All right, guys.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Good to see the brain cells about the IQ's about to drop.
Eagles stink. Talk about their dead cap.
Yo, shut your face. Shut your face. What do you need right here, baby? At least I don't give useless content like Mike Goletta.
Jesus
Christ. Can the Eagles get a cup of coffee with that cap space or what?
No, we all know that the local IQ goes down when a bunch of Eagles fans come into a room. Like it just plummets.
There's only one Eagle fan. We're good.
Hey, we're supposed to be nice, then we can talk trash. All right, guy.
And then the Eagles. There's no nice. There's no nice with the Eagles.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys later. We're gonna bring in the other guys for Eagles right now. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Mike Verardi with us. We got Daniel Bockley, and I don't know what Austin's doing. He still has no picture. I don't know what's going on, but we are going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. We are going to talk about what they expect for the 2021 season. First and foremost, let's get in and talk about the fact that you guys hired Nick Sirianni as your guys' new head coach. Old boy from Indianapolis, protege underneath Frank Reich. How do you guys see this as an upgrade for the Eagles as a team? And he's a run-first offense type of dude that he's bringing his playbook over to Philly. What do you see, Mike, for the Eagles offense and for Jalen Hurts and for your team?
Well, start off with the Sirianni hiring. I first thought it would be like a puppet type of signing. Like they want him to do what they want him to do. Obviously, Peterson was outspoken about the offense and who he wanted to be in charge of his offensive groups, and apparently the ownership did not like that. Apparently, from what I've heard, the first couple weeks that they've been out there for voluntary workouts, he's a lively guy. He's a young guy. He's bringing some energy. The rooks and the veterans like him. So listen, I guess if you want to get on their side to start with, it's a great thing. Obviously, you're going to have command of the room when you're in the locker room talking to these guys. I really don't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I heard a couple things today. I heard Jalen Hurts is the second best quarterback in the NFC East. That was one thing I heard. Seriously, behind Dak.
I thought you were joking.
Behind Dak. Okay. I mean, think about it, though. We got Heineke in Washington and Daniel Jones, who I don't even know what he's going to be from year to year. So I'm not saying that it is correct, but I also heard that they're going to have 2 wins this year. Now, do I think they're going to have 2 wins this year? I don't think so. I think they're going to have more than that. I think, with the additions that they have, Kerryon Johnson, everybody be like, oh, well, what's he going to do? Hey, listen, Miles Sanders and him, that's a good 1-2 punch.
There he is. Got him on.
What to do? It's a good one. It's a good 1-2 punch, and their draft picks. Listen, getting Devonta Smith where they got him at, and also getting a first-round pick for next year, you got to be happy with that. I think they got who they wanted to at that spot. They knew they weren't getting Pitts. They knew they weren't getting Waddle. They traded out of that spot in hopes that Smith would fall to them, and he did.
Okay, Daniel, where do you lie with this receiving core And do you have any trepidations at all with your? I guess it's fair to say your defense.
Well, I think the wide receiver core is definitely better than the last couple of years. Just adding a guy like Smith, who has exceptional route running, and then he's going to make plays catching the ball. That's something that we lacked the past couple of years. So just him is going to make it better. Hopefully his play will allow Rager to do what he wants to do, go down the field, because the safeties are going to worry about Smith. And then you got guys like Greg Ward, who's been well catching the ball in the slot. You added a guy in Travis Fulgham, who hopefully comes back healthy because he was hurt. Apparently, week 12 on, he had a torn ACL or ligament injury. That's why he didn't play as much, and he was doing well. So hopefully, as a whole, they look a lot better. And then I like the undrafted signee, Trevin Grimes from Florida. He was really good in the red zone. We need that help in the red zone where we can catch passes there. And then the defense, I think, as a whole, they brung in Jonathan Gantham, who was the defensive backs coach of the Colts. So he's going to change the scheme of the secondary. They're not going to be playing 10, 15 yards back. They're going to up front play press, which is going to be Darius Slay's strength. He likes to play on top, bump the wide receiver, and get him off his route instead of being far back and playing from behind the whole time. And I think that's going to help out the defensive line as a whole. And then the linebacker is still suspect, but I think you got guys there that can tackle, which is something we couldn't do for shit the past 2 years.
Okay. Austin, as we look at this draft board and what you guys selected, obviously we already Mike talked about Devontae Smith being such a value pick for you guys and be able to trade back and all that stuff for the future, which I think me and Brant agree. Brant, who hates you guys, I think we all could agree that was a great value pick. Where do you see on this draft board where you can get the most bang for your buck? Besides Devontae Smith?
I think Landon Dickerson is a great pick. He would have been a top first-round pick if it wasn't for him tearing his ACL. And he would have definitely been in the first round. And with him, with Kelsey probably be on his last year, Jason Kelsey, I think he's going to be a great replacement for him next year and learn 1 year under his belt to the best center, probably top 5 best center in the league right now. And I would, get a year under his belt, dude, and it would be perfect. Got him in the second round. That's money. I love it.
Brandon, I know you got questions, but I got one more big one I got to ask for these Eagle fans.
Ryan Kerrigan.
If Ryan Kerrigan's a good sign.
Shut the fuck! I swear to God, I will hold you in the mouth.
Let me ask a question, damn it!
No, I gotta touch. He mentioned Ryan Kerrigan. I gotta get in it. Jesus, I love Ryan Kerrigan, but I hate the NFL for becoming this. Right? Like, you don't go to a team that is a rival like this. Like, you just can't do it. I was hoping he was going to be a lifer for the Redskins. I love Ryan Kerrigan. That dude he's a great guy on and off the field. One of the most underrated. No, shut up.
Can we move on?
No. I miss him. I hope he tears his ACL in the first week.
Oh, that's terrible, dude.
Wow.
Hang on. Anyways, we're going to move on. All 3 Eagles fans, I just want you guys to answer one at a time. We'll start with you, Mike. Jalen Hurts has a horrific year. Let's just say he has a Carson Wentz 2020. Are you gonna wait and see if he could develop again under Nick for another year, or do the Eagles need to make something happen to get a quarterback that can lead? It looks like this team is building around him. What do we do?
Are you asking me from my standpoint or the Eagles standpoint?
I'm talking for your standpoint. If you're the GM,
I give him 1 year. I give him this year. I got news for you. Those 3 number 1 picks may not be around a long time because if this shit with Deshaun Watson clears, he's going to be an Eagle. I'm telling you. They got a lot of firepower to get rid of to get him. And listen, it might even happen before this year. It might not even give Hurts the year.
Said you got to go cap room though, right? Like, how are they going to clear up that much space that quickly? Because I'm pretty sure the Eagles have either the worst or the second worst cap
Yeah,
space as we currently sit.
Well, listen, they're still hanging around with Zach Ertz. I don't know what they're doing with him. He's probably he could sit out for the whole year for all I care. Okay, he's still under contract another year. So this whole thing with I'm not coming back and they don't want me, boo-hoo. Sit out the year then if you don't want to play here. Says Goddard's better than he is anyway, right now at this point of his career.
Yeah.
So if I'm answering your question, Drew, I say this year and that's it. Yeah, listen, if he comes in and lights the world on fire, you know what I mean?
So you're giving him a 1 year prove it deal pretty much.
Because he already played almost 4 or 5 games last year.
Okay. Daniel.
It depends on, like you said, how he does. If we are in like the
I told you how he does. If he's 2020 Carson Wentz, does he go away or do you get a new quarterback?
It all depends. It all depends too, because if let's say they have 3 wins this year and they're picking in the top 3, they're going to draft a quarterback probably or get Watson.
But what if he plays good? What if the offense is playing good but the defense is playing like crap?
You said if he has a 2020 Carson Wentz year.
I know. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying.
Then he's out. He's out.
He's out.
If they're in the top 3 and he does well, of course you want to build around him. You want to give him more to work with. And you're saying if the defense does bad, then you work on the defense. You improve the defense. But if he does bad, and then of course they do bad, then you look at who there is in the top 3 at the time. Which right now Sam Howell's like the number 1 guy. You got to do your homework. Look at those guys. See how they fit in your offense. Or if you have to switch your offense completely to bring a new guy in with who you have now. But we're free $36 million next year when once his money comes off the books completely. So that'll give us a little bit of wiggle room to bring somebody in. So you look at the college quarterbacks coming out, then you look at the quarterbacks that are going to be free agents, or you can trade. Yeah, and then you look into that and see what your best option is. And if the best option is to see what Hurts can do, you do that. If it's you bring a guy like Watson in, try and trade for him, you do that. Or you
What do you mean try and bring a guy like Watson? If Watson came to Philly, you guys are automatic contenders for the division. I don't care who do you have on the offensive side.
But it depends on what Houston wants back. I don't want to give all men a leg.
3 first-round picks. That's what it's going to take. 3 first-round picks.
I do that, but knowing Houston, they're going to try and get more out of us.
They suck at it. They suck at it.
Trust me, they're trying for more.
He's going to want to get out of there. He already wants to get out of there. If this whole thing goes on, and who knows what could happen, it might turn into 1 first-round pick.
It might.
You know what I mean? As the story keeps going on. So you never know.
That's true. Brent, you got a question for Austin?
I do. So I do want to clarify. I do not wish Ryan Kerrigan to actually get hurt. I was just kidding.
Yeah,
no, I see. I know.
Wait.
I see that signing being a lot like Chris Long, right? Like he's going to come in, be that veteran presence. He's going to solidify that line. Like as soon as he signed, I was like, I hate this, but he reminds me of that Chris Long part of his career. What holes do you guys wish you would have addressed more in the offseason, though?
Speaking of that,
corner
given the roughly 3 holes on the roster, was it really the best idea to draft a wide receiver in the first round that high?
Ryan, get off the show.
Says the guy.
Go away. Go away.
Austin,
what do I feel about Hurts?
No, what do you feel about the question? Well, both.
So like, what's the biggest hole that you wish you would have filled in the offseason?
Okay, who would you have gotten?
Like a first-round pick, you're asking me? Who would you have
drafted? No, like free agents later in the draft. Is there a position that you wish the team?
A corner right now. I think we still get Steven Nelson, you know?
Well, they got Josiah Scott yesterday in that trade with Jacksonville, so that was pretty good.
That's
helps
a special
out,
teams player.
It helps out.
Austin, if you're facing in your draft pick in the first round and you had the chance of Surtain, Horn, and Smith, who are you going with?
Horn.
If I had a chance between those 3?
Yeah, those 3 were available for you.
I mean, either one we could have went either way because, you know, we needed a receiver because I don't think Rager's the answer. And then we have we need another corner. So either way, we addressed the hole. So I was fine either one.
But who did you want?
Oh, I want a horn all the way.
Okay.
Horn.
I agree with that. Listen, for where they were, for what they traded back, like I said, they have something planned for next year. Okay, stockpiling those three because that Wentz pick's going to turn into a one. Hopefully, they're ready.
It should.
They're ready to do something with that. They got them now to do something with them. So something's going to happen.
I hope Miami sucks, dude, and we get a higher pick for their first rounder.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That's a high likelihood.
What we should do for Hurts is what I think we should play him out, give him a year, and see what he does. And if he's not the guy, like everybody's saying, wrap him up in a draft, like two first round draft picks or 3 first rounders, and wrap him up with Hurts, and then trade for Watson. Give him Hurts and some draft picks, and we'll bring Watson over here. I'll do that right now.
I don't think his value is that high.
I'll do that right now.
But yeah,
I think if he didn't have legal issues right now, I think it'd be done.
They're gonna be gone soon.
If he didn't have legal issues right now, I think Chicago could have made that move because that's the team that was talking to the Texans the most.
Yeah.
Listen, I was just so happy they didn't take Fields at 12. I was going to die. I would have died. I would have broke everything in this house.
I wish it happened.
I know you do. You and the other one too. The Browns fan, Alex.
He has
another turd.
All right, guys.
He thinks Mike Evans sucks.
All right. For me personally, I want to ask you guys, each one of you, give me a record as I'm going to show the Eagles schedule here. What are you guys going to finish this season, Mike?
It's 18 games, 17, right, this year?
18 weeks, but 17 games.
Right. I'm going to, honestly, like Brian calls me a homer all the time. I think they can get to 7 wins this year. And that's not a great thing. But I think they can get around 6 or 7 wins. I'm shooting low because every year I usually say 9 or 10 wins. I'm shooting low this year.
Daniel?
6. I see him probably win 1 game in the first 5 or 6 weeks, but I like how the end of the season is with us playing the last 5 or 6 games on the Northeast. Okay. We don't leave there, so 6 games.
Yeah, what's up with the Pacific time bullshit too on here?
All 3 of you, don't worry about that. All 3 of you, let's just be realistic here. I'm going to go through each game. Win or loss. At Atlanta, week 1. Are you guys winning or losing?
Probably a loss.
I got to win.
I'm going to say dub.
Okay.
Probably a loss.
San Francisco.
I think they could beat them at home, to be honest with you.
That's an L.
Loss.
I'm going the other way.
Dallas. At Dallas.
Well, I can't tell if it's a night game because it's 5:15 on there. So I'm assuming
no, it would be a night game, guy.
Listen, it takes me a while to process the Eastern time.
Oh, my God.
Loss.
I'll go loss.
All right, I'm not going to talk about Kansas City. It's a loss. Carolina.
Andy might throw 60 on us.
W.
He might throw 60 on us.
Austin says W at Carolina.
I'll go that. I'll go W.
W.
At home against Tampa Bay.
That's not
loss.
L.
Okay. At Las Vegas.
That'll be a home game for the Eagles. That'll be a home game for the Eagles. I'm taking them to win that game.
Win.
Yeah, there's going to be Eagles fans.
At Detroit.
That could be a loss.
W.
Okay. And then we already know you guys are going to lose week 9.
Oh, here we go.
You already know. You already know.
Drew's getting hammered. Drew's getting hammered in South Jersey.
I don't drink.
Yeah.
At Denver. At Denver. That's a tough one.
Oof.
That's
I gotta win,
guys.
I'm going to say a W because there's
I'll
no
go win.
quarterback there.
Okay. At at home against New Orleans.
That's probably a loss. Regardless of who their quarterback is.
Okay. At the Giants.
Win.
I got lost that one.
Okay. At New York Jets.
Win.
We're gonna go back-to-back weeks there.
I'm gonna say you guys are gonna win both those games. I think you guys might win all 3 games there.
Listen, those last four games, they could win 3 of those. They could win 3 of those games, which is the first 3.
Look at your last 5. Was that 5? Yeah, last 4. Washington, New York, at Washington, and then Dallas. Those are 4. You guys in the last 6 games have New York, Washington, New York, Washington, Dallas. You guys can easily win those 6 games.
Listen, if
What
they
are you smoking?
listen, if
Did
they
did you not see?
We're for
how
sure beating
badly
Washington.
I had to
Chase
say it.
Young
I
and
had to say
Washington's
it.
defense they made Jalen Hurts look like a backyard quarterback who was way out of his depth that entire game. That might be the worst game
And
I have
we're
ever
still in the
single-handedly
game. We
watched.
threw the game, we're still in the game.
One at a time. One at a time.
That might be the single-handedly worst quarterback performance I have ever seen by any pro quarterback, purely on Jalen Hurts.
You know what's
Listen.
crazy? We threw that game and we almost won.
if they can get through, let's say they do get through that schedule at 6-7 those first 13 weeks, like Drew said, they could end up 10-7. You don't know. You don't know though. I'm saying
You're giving yourself false hope, Velarde.
I already told you they're getting 6 wins this year. I'm saying if they do get through that first half of that schedule, those last 4 games are very winnable games. You think Daniel Jones is going to scare anybody? You think fucking Tyler Haneke is going to scare anybody?
At first, it's going to be Ryan Fitzmagic, right? So yes,
yeah, by that point, yeah.
Jalen
1 or
Hurts
2
scares
games.
nobody.
I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he
Jalen
is.
Hurts got his draft stock boosted by going to Oklahoma. Pre-Oklahoma, he was a 5th or 6th round quarterback prospect at best.
Oh,
He just
you're
went
disrespectful.
Dude, come on. He got benched by a freshman by Tua.
Well, he got hurt because
who threw a dart in the national championship game to score a touchdown.
Yeah, but he wasn't getting it done. Hurts got his draft stock boosted by going to play for Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma.
Yeah, but what happened when Tua got hurt in the game against Georgia? Hurts showed out and was passing the ball. He wasn't just running like he used to. He matured that last year, but he left because Saban, even though he won that game and Tua got hurt, he put Tua back in. So
yeah, he knew he wasn't going to play there.
I got you guys going 5-12. 5 wins.
Well, like I said, 6, maybe 7.
I think 7's the ceiling for sure.
5-12 get you guys a top 10 pick in 2022.
What's their over/under on DraftKings? 5.
I'm not Brandon Tide. I don't have 3 laptops in front of me.
Ryan, where you at? Show us.
I am to that. Guys, how do you feel? So, how do you feel about Carson Wentz going to Indy? I know Austin's feelings on it. Mike, how do you feel? Mike and Daniel, how do you guys feel about the whole situation that went down? Do you regret giving Carson Wentz the deal that you guys gave him? And do you guys feel that he will succeed under Frank Reich in Indy?
6.5 is what.
Okay, well, like I said, 6 or 7 wins. Do I regret giving him the deal? No. I feel at that point they traded so much to get him that they had to give him the money. He deserved it. I think he turned into a big vagina this past year, and literally he showed himself out the door. Okay, because somebody. All right, listen. They drafted a quarterback, so right away he put his head between his ass. Oh, I'm upset. I'm upset. How about going out there and winning a job? Okay, you get hurt every year, dude. You can't stay healthy. So. You mean to tell me that you think that was good for what he did? Come on, he was shit. Come on, Trammell, little Trammell.
Austin, what's the problem? What's the problem, Austin?
I do think he's going to succeed.
We didn't set him up, bro. We didn't set Wentz up. We had no one around him. He was throwing against garbage players.
I'll give you that.
Squad players. That's who he was throwing into.
I
just feel like we didn't set him up.
But listen, these guys are still NFL players.
I honestly don't. I mean, last year,
you guys are in the NFL.
Don't get me wrong, he was trash last year. But you got to think. You have that went out before the season. You had a guard that went out before the season. So he had like 4-string linemen blocking for him. He had basically me and Andrew blocking for him. And it was pretty bad, dude. It was bad, but I just think that over the years that he didn't get really set up the way he did. In Indy, he's getting set up.
No,
he sure.
No.
You guys
won a Super Bowl championship in 17. He won a Super Bowl championship in 17.
But,
so he
but
was
you
set
saw
up.
what he did when he had weapons, though. That's the thing. You saw what he did.
Well, what's our motto? Availability is what?
No,
Availability is your best ability. You can be the greatest player. You can be the greatest player ever.
I'm with
but
you.
if you cannot
He's
stay
hurt
in
a lot.
between the white lines, then you're worthless to me.
I think he's going to tear it up in Indy, though. I'm watching. He's going to tear it up.
I think he is too.
He loves Frank Reich. Frank Reich. He loves that system.
I don't think it'll be what we expect him to be year one. I expect him to run the ball a lot this year with the 3 running backs that they have, and I'm not sold on the wide receivers in Indy. I'm not sold on them. I'm sold on the tight ends, but not the wide receivers. T.Y. Hilton is only coming back because there's a 1-year deal that he accepted. I think he's overrated as a wide receiver. I do like Pittman's potential. But I feel like with the right there, he's going to run the ball as much as possible with all those running backs that they have. I feel like he's going to be more of a game manager to start out.
So I told our boy Lewis, who's in our group text, he's the diehard Colts fan. I said we're going to see the same type of game with Rivers as with Wentz, but the difference is that Wentz has a way better arm, which we all agree. Rivers could throw the ball more than 40 yards, and that he could extend the play out of the pocket, which Rivers can never do. It's like a fallen statue in water. It's just going to fall when he sees pressure. So those are big upgrades, I will admit. When I talk about Carson Wentz in our group text messages between Austin and I and our guys, is that I see a lack of confidence with him because of his inability to throw the ball when it comes to being accurate. That's the only issue I have with Wentz. Does his confidence go away? Austin, is his confidence gone, or can Frank Reich bring back that magic as he did in 2017? As Brian is nodding his head up and down because we're talking about his favorite quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, for sure, dude. I mean, if anybody can fix it, it's Frank Reich. And I think he's going to fix it, man. I think he's the missing piece to Carson Wentz, and I think he's going to fix it. If anybody can, like I said, if anybody can fix it, he can fix it. If he can't, then his career's over.
Listen, I'm pulling a Brant here. Once Wentz plays 70% of those snaps, I hope he fucking tears his other knee up. How about that? I'm good for that. Done. That's what I think of him.
So
piece of shit. He quit on the team. That's all I care about.
And Mike, I 1,000% agree with you. I 1,000% agree with you.
He quit on his team. He got a little pressure against him. Oh, I'm the number 2 pick. I have all this money. Well, you're not playing like it. You stink. He really did. He stunk. And he had more pressure on him because Foles won that Super Bowl, and that was worse on him.
My boy David Jones just said it. Nope, Foles won a Super Bowl. I think he's saying that to Austin's point of they never set Carson Wentz up. He was set up, right, Daniel? I mean, that 17 team was special. They beat the New England Patriots. Nick Foles went on a tear against Minnesota. He played okay against Atlanta. And where does the line stand with the Eagles as far as Austin saying that he wasn't set up for success? Do you think that Carson Wentz was set up for success?
I think he was because they had a great line. Their defense played great at home. That was a major thing with Nick Foles succeeding in the playoffs that year was they locked up home field advantage throughout the playoffs where they played – for some reason they played bad on the road, but then they were like a top 5 team at home. And then it took them a while to get going offensively, but once they did, the defense was able to carry them. I think they averaged only 8 points against the game at home. But then you look on the offensive side, they had weapons there too. They had 3 running backs. They had two, 3 tight ends at the time that did different styles in Selleck, Ertz, and Burton. And then the wide receivers caught the ball, something we're not used to right now. So they did that. And then I think moving forward, it was a little bit of Frank Reich left, so we had a little bit of style change because then it was just Doug Peterson dialing up plays, and then the wide receivers were designed as least amount of routes as possible, and then we lost running backs. We did bring in Miles Sanders, but then he wasn't running the ball like we should be running. He was barely getting 10, 15 carries. and then the line got hurt. There was a lot of things going on, but you still expect your quarterback to make the plays. So I'm a little bit in the middle between like the management and then Wentz. I thought Wentz could have done better, but then I think management didn't make the situation any better for him. So
Or Peterson.
That too.
And listen, Brant, I'm not going to apologize from what I said. Unlike you, I'm not apologizing for the injury.
Guys, real quick, let's fast forward in time. It's the end of 2021 season. We all three of you guys agree the Eagles will not make the postseason. So with that being said, it's Fire Monday it's Black Monday for coaches. But instead of going coaches, I want you guys to tell me what week or after the season is Howie Roseman going to be leaving the front office. Mike?
I don't think he does.
You don't think he's staying after the year no matter what?
Dude, it's Lurie's boy. He's gonna give him a little bit of time, especially I'm telling you, he had a good draft. I mean, if you look at the overall scheme of it, he had a good draft. So if the players – do you think that Jeffrey Lurie is telling him right now, we're going to make the playoffs this year? He can't in your right mind think that. Okay? So he's going to have a follow-up year to that, in my opinion.
Okay. Daniel?
It all depends on the development of these players that we drafted this year than how the ones last year do under Sirianni. If they do well, he'll probably get extension for how Lurie does things. But if they don't develop or they don't play like they should, I could see like a thought process of maybe Lurie saying, maybe I do need to go in a different direction because we had all these picks and made all these moves and no one's still panning out.
Austin? No, don't read it,
guy.
Dude,
Howard's saying he's going to make the trade for Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
And as soon as he does that, he'll be on the top of the pedestal again.
Boys,
yeah.
Brent, do you have any final things to say before
bro.
we end this and go see the Lakers win a game tonight? So hurry up.
The only question I got is who is a lesser known player on the Eagles that you think can make some noise this year and surprise some people in a good way?
Austin, start it off, Austin.
Freaking hit it with a hard one.
Austin,
are you going on Google?
I think Eric Wilson's going to make a lot of impact for us.
Okay.
He's a linebacker.
Yeah, I had no idea who he is.
I think the addition of Devonta Smith is really going to help Rager because I think there was a lot of pressure on Rager last year to be a number one, and he's not.
Because he's a bum,
but
dude.
I know. Listen, he might be, but we really haven't seen what he could do. Listen, he's a number one pick, and they're going to play him. So they're not going to prove that they were wrong like they did with JJ.
Daniel.
Jacoby Stevens.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like Jacoby Stevens.
I think they're going to use him at that hybrid spot. He's going to float between linebacker and safety. He's tall. He's not thin, and then he covers well. So
listen, we guys, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight.
Sneaky
Me and Brett. Oh, okay. I appreciate you guys coming on tonight. This guy wants to say something to you guys. He wants to say how bad you guys' team is.
I didn't even know it was going to be
Brian, you got a minute. You got a minute to go off on the Eagles.
It's such a punchable face. I swear to God.
I think you're all nuts. They have 53 holes on the roster. They're going to get a wide receiver. By the time they're relevant again, he's due for a new deal. I have no idea what they're doing. None. The point is just like I don't understand what they're doing. You can tell it's the biggest dead cap hit in the history of the NFL. For what? That's fine. But we've had a conversation. You agree with everything I'm telling you.
I put a knife to your throat too about Nick Foles.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
I did.
A butter knife.
True story. True story. I put a knife to your throat.
Isn't Jared Goff the more bigger dead cap now?
No,
it's the Eagles.
No, it's
the only one that would be more would be Deshaun Watson. He's the only guy that would have been more.
Listen, let me. You said, Drew, that Deshaun Watson makes the Eagles an instant contender in the NFC East.
Oh yeah.
So okay, let me ask you a question. If you remove the quarterbacks, what is the difference between the Eagles roster of 52 and the Texans roster of 52? Deshaun Watson just took the third overall pick in the draft.
if they drafted Deshaun Watson in this draft, or what are you talking about?
If you just look at the Texans roster right now, minus Watson, how different is it than the Eagles roster, no quarterback?
Because Watson's 20 times better the player than Jalen Hurts.
It doesn't matter. No.
It does matter. He took the Houston Texans a horrific offensive line and made them a 7-win team last year.
I'm pretty sure Jason Peters is 55 years old.
But he's a lot better than Houston's offensive line.
It is hard to, and I like Deshaun Watson a lot, but it's hard to say that those rosters are that different from each other to say that picking up one and dropping him on the other is going to make that team better.
Brian, you don't think that Deshaun Watson on the Eagles last year would make them a playoff contending team?
No, I don't see any difference with the Eagles and the Texans from last year. Similar teams, both all bad rosters.
The NFC East was bad. But hey.
I mean, what were they? I don't see it. Man.
Dak Prescott's your quarterback.
I'm thrilled. I can't tell you how happy I am. I'm just beaming about it,
boys. All right, boys, this has been fun. Mike looks like he needs to go have a snack. Let's go and let's end the show tonight. Mike, I appreciate you guys being on, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for going to Game Winning Drive.
I hate that star on his hat, and I want to punch him right in his face. I freaking hate you.
And we'll catch you guys next week.
Stink, and Cowboys suck, and every team you like stinks. Thank you for watching this episode of Game Winning Drive on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.